Now we have clause 8, operation. It is all about the operations department, how they should work and implement the QMS in their process. It has 7 subclauses which are furthermore divided into different subclauses. So let's have a look at it. First we have clause 8.1, operational planning and control. Here the organizations must plan in advance for how they will manufacture their product or deliver their service by keeping documentation of requirements for each of the organization's specific products or services by an equally specific test for measuring all operational processes and resulting product or service suitability or acceptance, an assessment of required resources to achieve the above, meeting product or service requirements through all actions, proof of resulting product or service consistency. Then we have clause 8.2, requirements for products and services. Here we understand the requirements for products and services by having a system for robust ongoing customer dialogue for general information, order or change orders, measuring performance, complaint or discrepancy handling, and use or care of customer supplied assets, including a plan for dealing with any non-conforming results. Definition of product or service needs must include compliance with laws, regulations, or even organizational dictates, and that these requirements can be met. A formal review must be conducted to determine if the above product or service requirements can be met before making any type of supply commitment. Any customer requirement changes must be documented and that the appropriate personnel be made aware of any changes. Then we have clause 8.3, design and development of products and services. It is furthermore divided into 6 subclauses. First, subclause 8.3.1. It is the general information about the clause 8.3. Here, organizations must have a design development process that is documented. And clause 8.3.2, design and development planning. During design and development planning, organizations must include documentation of timescales for surveys or designs, the skills required, roles and responsibilities, resources required by the organizations and subcontractors, communication channels, and controls. Then we have clause 8.3.3, design and development inputs. Here we determine the input needed to carry out design and development plan. The organization should review evidence that the inputs have been addressed based on the nature of the product being produced, that they have been reviewed for adequacy, and that records are maintained of the activity. Then we have clause 8.3.4, design and development controls. Here, designs and developments must be verified, validated, checked, and tested. Then clause 8.3.5, design and development outputs. Here, designs and development outputs should reconcile with its design and development inputs. Then clause 8.3.6, design development changes. Here, the organization should identify, review, and control changes made during or subsequent to the design and development of products and services to the extent necessary to ensure that there is no adverse impact on conformity to requirements. Then we have clause 8.4, control of externally provided processes, products and services. Here we evaluate the critical suppliers against a fixed set of criteria. It is divided into 3 more subclauses. So clause 8.4.1, which is the general information, where all suppliers of products and services must be adequately controlled to ensure that their products and services conform to specified purchase requirements. They must also monitor performance levels of these external parties. Then we have clause 8.4.2, type and extent of control. Here, the organization should ensure that suppliers or subcontractors do not adversely affect the organization's ability to consistently deliver confirming products and services to its customers. And clause 8.4.3, information for external providers, where we keep all the records and information about the external providers in detail. Then we have clause 8.5, production and service provision. It has more 6 subclauses in it. First clause 8.5.1, control of production and service provision. It is about clear and documented definitions for product or service specifications, needed activities and results, which are effective step-by-step data collection and measurement to ensure that expectations are being consistently met, or if a process stage can't be measured accurately, then ongoing evaluation of the output of the process be made. And acceptable support and surroundings for production, including selection, empowering of skilled, qualified personnel, and formal methods to prevent errors caused by those personnel. Execute actions that ensure quality during and after production or provision of services according to the QMS. Then we have clause 8.5.2, identification and traceability. It is a tiny subclause that has big implications. Here, identification, mandatory under ISO 9001, applies not only to your finished product but work in process and any received goods or raw materials. Whereas traceability requires batch or lot numbering or part serial numbering. This may not apply to everyone, so the traceability portion of 8.5.2 is optional. Then we have clause 8.5.3, property belonging to customers or external providers. You need to identify, verify, protect, and safeguard this property while you manage it. Clause 8.5.4, preservation. This requires organizations to ensure supply of product and services is preserved. Preservations can include identification, handling, contamination control, packaging, storage, transmission or transportation, and protection. And clause 8.5.5, post delivery activities. Here, post delivery activities is, as the name suggests, all about how you support your customers after they get their hands on your products or service. In clause 8.5.6, control of changes, it talks about any change should be documented by the organization along with its impact and stakeholder implications. You must review the changes before you implement them. You must have some form of control of the changes in place. Then we have clause 8.6, release of products and services. Here, before releasing a product or service, there must be a process to ensure that the customer expectations have been met at each stage of product or service production, including documentation of formal customer approval that agreed upon product or service needs were met. And clause 8.7, control of non-conforming outputs. It has further two subclauses. Clause 8.7.1, in this, any outputs that do not conform to their requirements are identified and controlled to prevent their unintended use or delivery. And clause 8.7.2 says records should be kept when something fails, including what the non-conformity was, what the organization's response was, the concessions given, and who was responsible for authorizing the action in respect of the non-conformity, if any. So all these needs to be documented for sure.